money. Your conditions go ahead and do it. Even your cancer patients, they take astronomical amounts of money in treatments and drugs. And you can't just universally say, you know what, pharmaceutical companies, I want to end R&D. I'm going to cut that down. I want to end. You're gonna sell, I don't know, Viagra for $1. You're gonna sell Humira for $20, and they're gonna say, oh, fuck you, I'm not gonna give you any. I'm not gonna produce any. I'm gonna move on to something else. Or they're gonna just move their operations overseas and say, too bad, so sad, US government, now you have to buy it for me for like, I don't know, $10 trillion if you want Humira. And they're gonna hold on to that. They're just gonna take their money and go. And we're gonna be begging them. You're gonna beg them for vaccines, you're gonna beg them for medicines. On top of that, if you're going to try to push the medical providers into this step, you're going to be able to go ahead and tell them, hey, we're going to cap your salaries. Okay, I mean, you could reform education, you could provide caps on those, you could open up PA slots to be able to do a little bit more in MPs, but even then, they're dipping out of it. We're having a hard time fielding OBGYNs. Can't get one. Can't fucking do it. There's a state in this country, Idaho, I believe, and another one in the Northeast. They are drastically losing. Like, it's actually a red flag alert. Like, we need OBGYNs to go there. To the point that the US government is considering paying and supplementing actual additional funds to help them, including offering a reinsurance back on their liability policies or malpractice policies, etc., to help bring them up so that we can bring them on. So if we're looking at this and saying, I'm losing primary care physicians, I'm losing OBGYNs, I'm losing pediatricians, I don't have the expensive roles that we used to have, I'm losing these specialists, everybody wants to cut, you're gonna have to find a way to figure out and fix so many holes first. And that's why I say, Joe, you have to take it in small pieces. You cannot just universally do a single payer will work, because idiots will quote fucking stupid shit from Heritage Foundation and have no idea what they're looking at, and they don't know how the Legos are stacked, they don't know how they interlock, and they don't know how they exchange, and they don't know the finances that exist in there.
Yeah, I mean, the doctor shortage is the real thing. And you've got a lot of people now that are going to medical school, but they're not going to be a patient practitioner. They're going into research because they don't have to worry about, all the malpractice insurance. They get high salaries, and they don't have to deal with the bullshit. And can you blame them? And we also don't create enough doctors. And we don't have enough medical schools. And we make it very hard for someone to become a doctor. That's a bad thing. And then for the nurses, we make them to go to a 4-year degree. They don't need that. They could do this with certifications. We could have a lot more nurses if we didn't have this Byzantine education system to create them. I mean, it's unnecessary, and it hurts all of us.
It does, and I mean, like right now we're trying to work with FQHCs. These are a variety of facility-based programs. They're called federally qualified health centers, and it's like basically a community-based clinic that gets federal funding to provide care in underserved areas. And this is a major program that's been rolling out, which is why the cut to Medicaid really doesn't fucking matter, because we put these areas and these centers in these more impoverished or more difficult to reach areas. And what we do is we fund it to we use a massive scale of funds to do this. And they treat everybody regardless of insurance status, whether they can pay or didn't pay. And when they use a sliding scale. So basically it's all set on what you make and what you're able to have, and if you qualify or don't qualify. And so we've been dumping money into these FQHCs for a long time, and they've built up, and they're all over the country. There's some in prominent areas you wouldn't even understand. You don't even know which one of these are it. And this is why those like weird cuts to Medicaid are really insignificant, because what the Medicaid cuts are going to do is just force these people to go over here, and they'll be transferred over here. And there's a variety of facility-based programs that exist for these. So on these FQHCs, these things, these health centers, basically give you a comprehensive overall scope of care. They offer like primary care, preventive screenings, medical, dental, mental health, substance treatments, emergency care, urgent care, and they provide, guess what, infusions, their services. So they'll do a lot of these issues right there, but it's costing us so much more money, and we're not getting back the qualitative results that we would expect. And so it's actually hurting us. But people are all happy about it, but they're not realizing that these hospitals are raking in well over the cost of what it is to treat a patient. They're hitting upwards of 500 to 800% of average cost per there. So that's your tax dollars at work.
This is a good conversation. I think we've exhausted it by now, but I think it's a very good conversation.
Yeah, I think we never even really covered massive scope, like the tip of the iceberg. And I wish Hagup was with me. I'll do a room with Hagup one day. We'll talk about insurance.
So Brad, before you go, you end the topic on this. How does the hospice actually works in this environment? Our family having experience with elder people under hospice. Can you tell us how does it work? The hospice.
Yeah, like hospice care for palliative care.
End of life, or
yeah. Most of the hospice care, again, is usually well, first off, under the federal system, it's under Medicare Part A. It is covered under Medicaid, and it is covered under almost all of the insurance plans out there. I'm trying to think. I don't think Curative does, so I'd have to look it up. I think WellMed doesn't, and a couple others don't. But the benefits under the insurance or government plans, they have to meet the doctor and hospital. And a hospital, I think it's the director or the hospital itself has to certify that the patient is actually terminally ill. So it's not just a doctor saying, I'm sorry, there's nothing more. You need that 28-year-old that's driving a Jaguar in top of the hospital to say that your patient or your family member is terminally ill, even though they've never seen the patient. And they'll make their choices, and that's a picky contradiction. You also have to sign away and say, hey, I refuse any care that may prolong my life or due to combat conditions that I have. And then you have to focus on comfort care. So you'll move to palliative care, and then you'll move to hospice care towards the end. And then you get the care team that'll do it. So you may get doctors, you'll get aides, you'll get nurses, depending on it. You'll usually get a bed, you'll get medical supplies, you'll get the drugs. You'll definitely get a lot of morphine and some of those. You may even get short inpatient care if it's a really brutal at a large amount. So if you're in a lot of pain and you need a constant infusion of morphine or an additional drugs, they may just have you come into the hospital, and that would be covered under it. But your plan should have covered a majority of those services. It really shouldn't kind of cost you anything, because I know Medicare Part A covers it at 100%. So most of the other insurance carriers are similar. I think they may have a copay or deductible, but they usually waive it for $1,000 or something along those lines. But it's one of the better services, I would say, Ali. I'm not sure if you're having problems with it or something along those lines.
No, thank you for that. No problem. Except I've heard or read somewhere there are tremendous abuses in the hospice program, but I'm just not sure what that would be. So.
Oh, you mean the fraud? Oh, yeah. It starts with the drugs. That's where we find the most fraud. Where usually you're supposed to have a care team go and collect that morphine. This is where we found a majority of our problems. The drugs disappeared. And some of them are costly. It's not that much, but generally you see that some of the hospital equipment, it misses from time to time, and the doctors try to overbill. But in the private world, or more the commercial space, you've got specific caps and you've got pre-authorization before payment will be released,
Nice.
so you can't just throw it out there.
They're nice. Yeah. Yep.
Sorry. I think fraud also happens too, with the overbilling of
It's got a lot of life in it.
the overbilling of in-home care, right? Versus that actually do services that actually don't perform the services they're saying they're performing. So that's happening too.
Yeah, and I mean, Ali, to your point, like we have like there's a kickback scheme in terms of pushing people into, you know, they funnel the patients into hospice care, even though they may have a chance for recovery. It's there. We do see, like, you know, identity theft. There's massive inflation. There's a lot of ineligible, like we see falsified terminal diagnoses all the time. Those occur. You know, so you have to kind of. Joe, you want to mute Joe? I think he's talking to somebody else.
Yeah. One second.
He's up.
1 second. Got him. Okay, go ahead.
But in terms, the falsified diagnoses are really massive. And the trick is, Ali, where you see this best at is where you see free home cleaning or free trial for like some kind of home services, like free home health care or something along those lines. That's one of the areas I know that we're seeing that spike from, is they're obtaining your information and then filing you for a falsified hospice claim and taking your information and then billing those services out there and getting it. So you don't, like, unfortunately it's tricking a lot of elderly people, and then you've got those that are actually providing hospice care or palliative care, and they're stealing the identities of individuals and raking up and fabricating massive amounts of bills and codes and monies. So you're seeing that through that. So the fraud detection, where people are working on it, but again, it has to reach a certain level and we can't capture everything. And unfortunately, even at the worst time of your family's life, of saying goodbye to you, we know that chances are you're getting fleeced over in some fashion, and there's really nothing we are going to do, or in a lot of times that we can do, because the federal government doesn't give us the powers, and the state governments don't give us the power to actually bring some of these people to bear.
Okay, Brian, thank you. That was really your whole last 20 minutes or so was great information about how the system works. Because at times you have an opinion about, you know, national health this way or that way, really without having a good understanding of the basic aspect of the health insurance and how the health providers, insurance providers, and and Medicare or Medicaid, the rest of it works. Without having a good knowledge of that, it would be obviously ignorant to even have an opinion about it. You have to know what you're talking about. And certainly I don't know. I just know the basic stuff about the insurance, not much. I don't care about it much, but there are things that one has to know just because, we are insured. But anyway, I wanted to thank you for that. I'm impressed by your level of knowledge and understanding how the system works, and perhaps having some of the solution, at least in principle, how to deal with them. Thank you, Brian.
I mean, it takes a while. There's others, like there's one person that I think she's really great. She was my mentor in bringing me into this. And she's one of the best. She works, coincides for another private entity, and she's contracted by the U.S. government And she was the one that started to spearhead the movement to kind of investigate the Medicare fraud. She's the one that went after certain other things because, again, it's cracking code. It's almost impossible to crack this, to find doctors or facilities or operations that are existing that are falsifying this. And she was one of the people that actually originally cracked that code and sent it off. But even her and I, we sit at roundtables. We meet twice a year. We go to a variety of conventions such as SIA and others. And we look at these and we sit down with all these people and we say, hey, what can I do for you? How can I help you? And what are you seeing in your markets? What are you seeing in your states? And it's the same answers, and it's just more explosive than it is. And then you'll have people that will say, hey, why can't you just mimic like England's, for instance? And a lot of people don't even understand how England's system works, including the people that live in England. And the NIH is really cracking. It's being subsidized, and it's having major issues with inside in terms of quality of care, length of care, provision of care. And when we look at massive data, we had looked at that back in the 70s and 80s to see if we could implement that here. And they wanted to do a universal program, but they realized when Nixon took it off the gold standard and there's other conflicts, the overwhelming cost of all of this to cover and to look at something like the NIH or Canada's system, it just, we wouldn't have been able to afford it, nor could we get universal acceptance on this. We had a state try it, Vermont. They couldn't last 6 months. They thought they could, but they couldn't do it. Bernie state couldn't bring his Medicare for all for everybody in that state to fruition. CalMed, which is doing California, saying everybody qualifies for medical, they can't maintain it. They're breaking. The reinsurance carriers are not backing them. And California was banking on the reinsurance. These are another companies that back up your regular insurance. They actually pay those large claims or massive volumes, the aggregate claims. And those reinsurance carriers are saying no to CalMed. And CalMed was using a lot of them and then suing the reinsurance carriers because the reinsurance carriers are saying, listen, you have a citizen here who does not qualify under any category for the U.S. outside of being here undocumented and illegal. And you're coming to us saying you want $5 million a year for an infusion therapeutic to give to this individual. And they're like, no, we are not covering that. In our contract, it states we will not cover it. And California was trying to sue these reinsurance carriers to go ahead and get this coverage. And the reinsurance carriers are saying no. So now CalMed's in peril, and they're begging the fucking government to help bail it out again. And we're sitting here looking at it saying, we can't continue this way. You have to put a cap on it. Your providers are too expensive. Your fucking programs suck. You can't just universally give this blanket out. You have to pick and choose. And we don't. And we don't have somebody to back up that financial mess. We're using private entities to back up the federal government for a federal program that they just basically gave to everybody because they wanted to virtue signaling for political points.
Oh, thank you. I just one more question, but maybe the moderators would like to do something else. Do you think an institution like Kaiser Permanente would be relatively a good model for the national health?
It's a good one. Would it work for national program? Kaiser's really good in a lot of areas, but it does fall short. With like private insurance care, some of you are on Kaiser and you don't even know it. Like this is the crazy thing. So what is it? They just settled, what was it? I think it was like $500 million for a False Claims Act settlement. So there was a lot of fraud that it went on that. They had to settle with the Department of Labor over mental health and substance abuse access and denial of claims and overpayment to the tune of like, I think it was like $40 million. And they are literally in California. I think California fines them, I think they're somewhere up to $50 or $100 million in fines. So this entity is fucking massively getting hit with a lot of things. So I would say Kaiser Permanente is a model that could work, but there's a lot of issues with them, and there's a lot of bullshit that is associated with it. So on the national model, it sounds good under the, I would say, like what I get, a lot of people will send me PowerPoint ads or PowerPoint presentations, and they'll tell me all the good things about it. And then when I see the mechanics and when it starts to work, and I realize that, hey, your cost is fucking massive, and you're killing us because you're actually doing bullshit to try to supplant what you're actually presenting, then this model doesn't work for me. But yes, there are facets of Kaiser Permanente that could work for us nationally and could be incorporated into a Medicare program if we had the proper oversight and the ambition to go ahead and implement that.
Yeah, Brad, Kitover is streaming this into another room.
Okay, that don't bother me.
Oh, it doesn't bother me either. I saw it in the hallway. It's like, and I wouldn't listen to you talk about PowerPoints, and they just came back. Well, she's now listening to me talk about him, which is kind of funny. I don't care.
Yeah, Don can move him out. He's under the name James in the room. He does this shit weird. I think that's him, or maybe it's not James. I don't know which one.
The other one. It could be the other one.
Oh, it probably is. But Kitover's another one. There's a mental health candidate. Like, I mean, shit. You're gonna have to pay for him to like go ahead and get a large like chunk of money for this guy, and the government's not gonna do it. Like we shut down those medical facilities, those mental health facilities in Reagan's day, and we talk about reopening them, but no one wants to. De Blasio in New York City got his dream wish. He got mental health program for New York City. Remember, he ran on that. He was going to save everybody with behavioral health reforms and mental health assistance for everybody in New York City. And his wife took the 400 or what was it, 400 billion? Took the $400 billion and they lost the check. Like literally that was their excuse. Like, so de Blasio like kind of fucked the people in New York for that. And I mean, I don't know, unless you're wanting to tear it all down and start from scratch, I don't know where you go at this point. The closest I can figure is do a Medicaid federal subsidization while keeping private partnership alive in each state based on its population and medical condition. But that would take a massive analysis and it would take a massive fund to kick off. But long term, it probably would be more sustainable than trying to do a single payer system and covering it with just the federal government or a state government. Oh, and Kaz, in terms of your bailouts, the only bailout I agreed with was Aetna. If we didn't bail them out, that would have had so much downstream impact. It would have. That was the one that was the most scariest. I could give a shit less about Ford. I could give a fuck about everything else. That one was the one that actually scared me, which is why I looked at McCain and said he was a twat waffle Elmer Fudd fucker, because he didn't have a solution for Aetna. And that one wasn't just US based. It would have affected. Aetna is one of the BUCAs, like the top 4 insurance carriers in our country. They insure a lot. They have a huge footprint, not just nationally, but globally. And if they would have fell and they couldn't come through on their torts, their claims, etc., we would have been fucked. And those CEOs should have absolutely went to prison. They should have been hung. I would agree with you. I would have started hanging people everywhere from, I don't know, what was the size of the building? 75th floor. I probably would have stopped about the 60th. But then I can tell you, they were the one entity that could not fail. We had to bail them out. Otherwise, our markets would have collapsed. You would have saw a massive shift in medical programs. Hospitals would have went under. Providers would have sank. You would have had other private industries just fucking massively go away. You couldn't. Unfortunately, that entity was the only one that was too big to fail. For me, anyhow. They were the ones that were in the most danger, the most critical need, and they also escaped the most severe they escaped all punishment for what they did, which is unfair.
What does BUCA stand for? I mean, I know what it is, but I kind of know what it is.
It stands for the four horsemen of the apocalypse. We call them.
Right. The large.
Blue Cross, United, Cigna, and Aetna. We call them BUCAs because they're the top four in the country. They set pretty much a lot, and like Blues is more rural. They went from a like 501c, like they were a charity organization in a lot of their operations. They're now going to a financial operation. They're changing their direction, and they're targeting becoming a for-profit entity. So we'll lose them later on. So, but the Blue Cross is the lead. United is next. Cigna is after that, and Aetna. And those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse for you.
Do you think it would help if people stopped watering their lawns?
Honestly, I think people should start by reading what they have. I think you should go to your computer, go to your portal, pull up your health insurance portal, whatever network you're with. There's only going to be a few of them. And pull up whatever healthcare network you have. Go into your portal, look at your benefits, and start looking at, hey, what do I have here? Some of you are so ridiculous. No, you have children, and you don't realize that if you could qualify for up to like 30% off of formulas, off of topical creams that help with diaper rash and things along those lines. Like, you have abilities to do that. You have, some of you have Teladoc, Garner Health, and other ancillary products. So what is it? WebIOs, all these different programs that are attached to your plans that give you like discounts on fucking toothpaste. They do a broad range, and they'll even give you discount on, I don't know, like fucking, if you have dandruff, they'll send you sometimes free shampoo. Like, I mean, you just have to look at these programs, and most of you don't use them. You don't use HRAs, which are available to you, HSAs, FSAs. You don't use any of these accounts to help defray those costs, which would save you massive amounts of money. Like, if you have a deductible on the plan, I absolutely would be using an HRA. I definitely, it is HSA. I'd be using all of these entities to my best advantage if my employer offered it, because you're getting it tax-free, it's lowering your tax footprint, and you don't have to worry about it because the FSA is the one that doesn't roll over, but you could actually roll over the other ones and you don't have to worry about it. You can just balance for your medical cost. And there's so many things that will qualify. Maxi pads, tampons, contact solution, ointment creams, Tylenol, fucking your special fucking soap that you need because you're allergic to absolutely everything. All of this stuff you can get. But, you know, most people won't bother to read all this and say, hey, maybe I could do this. And on average, if you have a good plan, or depending on what you have, you can probably save yourself about 10 grand a year in some of these costs if you're someone who needs certain medical things. But what do I know? You guys got, some people have the answers.
I don't know. What do you know?
Use the tools you have. I would go look at it this weekend and start really investigating what you have. Chances are you probably have a lot.
You know, I want to give you an example that the medical profession actually does a good job. You know, I had stage 4 cancer, and I had some chemo and radiation. And my wife, because she's trained in this, she scrutinized every bill. And she questioned some things, and she didn't get any adjustments because there weren't any to get. So there weren't any errors, and there weren't any overcharges. Now, I have really, really good insurance, so I didn't have to pay that much out of pocket. I wouldn't recommend getting stage 4 cancer. You'll experience that. But, you know, they actually did a good job, and I didn't die.
Well, I'm glad you didn't die. Like that's a good thing.
Good thing you didn't die, so we can have this convo. Hey!
That we have in this nation, Joe, are astronomical. People are living longer with cancer, and they're beating cancer. Like, we're doing a great job on cancer. People say our healthcare system is just
Really,
completely
85%
garbage,
mortality.
and they don't actually break down. Like, we're number one in the world with trauma. Like, we don't have as many murders, and I'm going to tell you guys, it's not for a lack of violence or people attempting to kill each other. We just have fucking shit hot ER docs. Like, they are fucking good. We have shit hot paramedics. They have tools they didn't have in the 80s. They have tools that they didn't have in the 70s. These guys are fucking better, quicker, faster. We have mercy flights. We have an array of tools, and our trauma docs are shit hot. They are so good. They're the best in the world. If we had a plague and had to go to war with the rest of the world, I could promise you we're going to win because we have the best emergency room care people in the fucking world. We can patch, plug, and go faster than everybody, and we keep them alive. We do really great with cancers, like amazingly longevity with certain types of cancers. The ones that, like, H country does a little better in some categories, but cancer overall, we're winning on that. We're doing better. Our research is massive. I think it takes too long. You can have your conspiracy theories, but we're doing good with it. We're providing it. Now, of course, it comes at a cost. I have to now care for you, and you need a lot more drugs, and it's much more expensive because of those skills and because of that care. It costs a fortune, and it is what it is. But I'd much rather we pay that fortune to keep you here, Joe, than just to say, you know what, we're just going to give you 2 Motrin and tell you to suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah. I didn't get my care at Johns Hopkins. I got my care at the University of Maryland. And the facility I went to, like going to a fucking country club. This fucking place was amazing. It was beautiful. Now, they didn't do beautiful things because it was an infusion center, but it was like going to a fucking country club. It was so good.
That's the world's first dinosaur wearing a piece of jewelry. It's not regular jewelry, it's meteorite.
Yeah, I mean, and it depends. And is it for everybody? No, I get it. There's different networks and different constraints, and when we find those variances, I can't account for it. I encourage people, every time you see your doctor, if it's a surgery, if it's cancer, if they tell you, you know, hey, you got cancer and it's Tuesday, by Wednesday you should be seeing another doctor. You should get a second opinion, third opinion, even if it costs you out of pocket, because I hate to tell folks this, we're seeing like 15 to 20% in some regions of the country where we go get a second opinion and we're finding out, oh, well, they don't have cancer. Well, why did this doctor do it? And they're like, oh, well, you know, I just assumed it's cancer because I saw it before. Well, dipshit, you were going to send them through fucking toxic drugs. You were going to put them on chemo. You were going to do all of this shit, and they don't have cancer. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And the doctors in the hospitals go, well, you know, misdiagnoses happen all the time. And there's nothing really, there's not a real repercussion for that or anything to kind of take away, because maybe they did miss it. Maybe they misdiagnosed. But having that second and third, I'd recommend it 100 times. The doctor says, I'm going to cut you, I would immediately go ask. In regards to that, if you get an ortho surgeon saying, hey, you need to do this and we're going to cut into you, and you don't have rheumatoid arthritis, why the fuck are you getting a surgery at this point? What's causing that? Go get a second, go get a third opinion. Look at alternative care pathways and look at those, because a lot of the times hospitals are really quick to put you on a trend to cut first and then try to rehabilitate you. And sometimes you just may need a different care plan that's more, you know, I guess catered to your injury or what your condition is. And it might be better. You might just need physical therapy, but just at a longer time, and not have to go through the brutality of a surgery and then risk that.
Pretty much this is the ATM Sports Nightmare. Let me show you how it fires. Go to SDI.today if you're interested in an online degree in gunsmithing and fire. The sort of stuff that's firepower you see here, this is tool with no background checks.
Yes. There's a huge reason why those cancer equipments, it does need to be used and it does need to be paid for.
It almost sounds like a cliche, but saying that what is our responsibility to keep ourselves healthy by exercising, nutrition, having a good life, behavior kind of types of activities. And that part of it goes quite often, and people who just, for whatever reason, we just don't do things like, eat well, exercise, get enough sleep, and kind of the responsibility that we have as people to keep ourselves healthy as much as possible is just not there.
I'll tell you the one thing that you can do, and this is one thing that I've seen predominantly. You can start with your teeth. Like, go visit your dentist. Go make sure you're taking care of that gum line, making sure that you actively, like, don't use the same brush for 2 fucking years on this stuff. Because a lot of infections, a lot of things start with the mouth. You ingest a lot, you breathe in a lot, you take it in. Infections usually start around the teeth, and you'd be surprised at how many conditions will stem off of the fact that you may have a toothache. Do your preventive cares. Yes, eat healthy, exercise, I would say. But do less sedentary things. Like, get up, go hiking, go for a walk for 10 miles. You don't have to run. You just go for a walk. Go enjoy it. Go for a swim. Do something. Keep bending. Like, yeah, going to the gym is great, but, it's not the only thing you can do. And then as far as nutrition, just cut down. You don't need a supersized fucking gallon jug of Coca-Cola and 12 Twinkies. Like, if you look down and you can't see your kneecaps or your toes, you may have a problem. But also keep track of, like, your intake. Like, you shouldn't eat that much sugar. Like, a lot of people I see, the number one claim I got, like, right now, and for right now, particularly in the South, obesity, musculoskeletal diabetes. It's always there. It's fucking rampant. And you can help control that. You don't have to go through the stages of CKD, chronic kidney disease, 1 through 4, and then go into end-stage renal disease. Pretty much you're going to die. And we don't need to go through all that. We don't have to do transplants. Like, you can do that. Put down the that carton of cigarettes that you smoke a day. I think that's how it goes. I don't know, fucking know. But, stop taking drugs. I guess a little weed's okay, but you don't be needing to do crack or cocaine. That fucks you up.
A simple thing is start cooking for yourself. You don't have to buy every meal prepared someplace else. You don't know what's in it. And
Mike is a health trainer. Joe, he's a health guy. He fucking does this shit all for a living.
Who does?
Psych. He's right here.
Oh,
He'll
okay.
tell you.
Yeah, cook for yourself.
That's
Your
the scene,
meal.
Psych. It's been a minute.
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Missing you, brother. Missing you.
All right.
Wow, dude, this is so much, brother. What a life.
Don't fucking tell me I know about it and you don't.
I didn't watch it.
I know about it.
Watch it, bro.
I know about it. Hey, did you watch that shit?
No, bro. I heard about it.
Oh man, you gotta throw a room on that, bro. This is like.
Is it
Oh,
good?
how long is it, Mike? How long is it? It's as long as you want to listen to it, bro. I'm gonna say that. So it's probably gonna be.
Is it good? Is it good though?
Well, it depends what you want to watch it for. I didn't watch it to learn. I watched it to see who's better. And that bitch is just fucking dumb, bro. I don't like
Just not knowing. You just not knowing it.
What's up?
Just not knowing that she not that bright.
Shit,
Yo,
I'm not.
is that
I'm-
Mike? Yo, bro, what's up?
What's up? Hey, what's up? Begin calling.
Yo,
Hey,
yo.
so check this out. Now she's just like, look, Andrew Wilson, he's just new on the radar. I don't really know much about him, but like, let's just say I found the transcript of the debate on paper. Forget about who they are. Bro, she just fucking sucks, bro. And I'm reading the comments on like Instagram. It's like, bro, you talk about dumb fucking people. People really think that she won, and I'm just like, dog. Like, I had to put a post on my IG. Hey, look, like poking holes in like someone's fucking claims doesn't mean that yours is true. She made a claim. I think she called the guy. It starts with a P, like what do you call that shit? Where like she thought like Israel or somebody put the guy up. The person accused of the murder. Potsy or some shit like that.
Roxy?
I don't know.
Patsy.
Some
Propaganda.
Patsy's the word.
Okay, I don't know what that means, right? But she's calling him that, and this fool's the whole time. What's the evidence for that? And then she's like, blah 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 blah, and all she does is just poke holes in his shit. And it's like, well, okay,
Debate
cool.
to some people, bro.
Huh?
Like, I just poke holes without making a claim. That's what Samoa does. As a debate.
Yeah, so it's like she pokes holes, but like that's why I went on IG. I go, hey, look, if I'm debating 1 + 1 is 3, and you're debating 1 + 1 is 4, you can poke holes in my 3 and my reasoning, but it doesn't mean your 4 is right. There's gonna come a time where you have to defend your position, you dumb fuck, and she never did, bro. So I don't want to spoil it for anybody. That's my position. I just thought for sure some of you guys might have seen it, but go check it out. Like, watch as long as you are interested into it, because maybe toward the end it gets a little boring, but
Yo, Mike,
I never liked Candace Owens in her like little debate fields. I don't get her. I don't understand what she's trying to get at, and she never really. She goes down more conspiracies than it is conservatism or political struggle.
she thinks there's a 0% chance that guy Tyler something pulled the trigger. Sorry, Finn, I know you were talking.
You good. No, you good.
Oh, sorry.
No. Dude, I've been saying for years that she's not that smart. I've been saying this. When she was like at the height of her freaking popularity, I've been saying that she's not that freaking smart. She does the same thing that freaking Tatum does. Like when you get into like specifics and like
Oh, is that like the
talking
former police officer Tatum?
Yeah. I hate that dude. I freaking hate that dude too. He's horrible. He's the worst.
He's not like the most intellectual, but he's good with business.
I think he's good on like Finley, like more like generic topics or like more cultural like things. But when he starts to go to nuanced, deep investigative, like political journalism, I think it's a way out of his depth.
Exactly. That's the same thing Owens does. Like, because I think that she's good on like the family values, conservatives, like the journal stuff. But when you get into like the deep topics, she don't know what the hell she's talking about. She pivots to talking points.
I think she's
Like,
actually only good against college kids who are freshmen and who really think they learned the world through TikTok, but really don't know.
What's that guy's name? Tatum something?
Officer Brandon Tatum. He was an officer in freaking Arizona.
Yeah, but he's so like.
I'm sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to cut you off either.
And these two like kids are like blah blah blah. One of them's like a white redheaded kid, and then he was like, "Oh, okay, so you're gonna try to tell me about the black experience? You're not black?" She goes, the girl's like, "Yeah, I'm black." And then at some point he goes, "Yeah, who? Which one?" And she goes, "Which one do you think?" He goes, "I don't think any." Basically saying like you're lying. And in that moment, bro, that shit was funny because that kid didn't do anything. It's like it was fucking. He had like a little gotcha moment at that point. So I like him. He's funny.
I think Candace is good at one thing: making money for Candace.
She's weird, bro. She's a weird brain human.
Saying this
Like
for
how
a
she
while.
sees the world.
Oh, that's crazy.
How she sees the world and the positions her brain, like the results that her brain spits out is like, damn, I'm so happy I don't have that brain. She's just wrong. I don't know. I don't get it. The other guys, he's like, he reminds me of what's that guy's name? Fucking Vince Vaughn.
Oh God. You know who her debate style is exactly the same, and one of the reasons I don't like it, and Nathan, you're gonna hate me for this, but you can't argue against it. It's Monica. It's the same style.
I don't think she has a debate style. I think she has. It reminds me of people that just like to be speak and be heard versus people that like to go back and forth. Because when you watch this, like she has all these rules. She's more verbose, and it's about like pointless shit. It's worth listening to, dude.
You have to give her credit for having a well-practiced rhetoric. But she says the same thing over and over again. And that's how she gets all the fucking practice.
Yeah, I mean, no, she's like a sharpest tongue in the big one. She speaks. But then you have something.
No, I've been working, and so I just wrapped up, and then I was talking to these guys about healthcare and then, or health insurance, and then someone mentioned it earlier and said it was bad, but
It's weird.
I'm trying to remember who, somebody said it, and they brought it up for a brief second, but like, I don't follow, like, I don't like, what is it, Tucker Carlson. I don't like him.
I don't fuck. He's another weird person. I like the debates. I missed a good debate, and I just know that like the anticipation to watch it was like building up to where I think the guy paid like $300K for the debate or something like that, right?
It's insane.
Yeah, so like they offered up a bunch of money and go back and forth. So it was more of what I just wanted to see the two styles and like the content was not as relevant versus like the approach is to see somebody on the spot have a different position. That's like my favorite thing to do. So
Who did she debate? Who was the debate partner?
this guy Andrew Wilson. Oh, Andrew Wilson. Here's what they did too. This was dope. Okay, so Andrew Wilson, he's like this kind of like, you know who he reminds me of? It's kind of reminds me of Shameless. Not like, I don't know what Shameless looks like, really, but like this stylistic in the sense of like, you know, women thing and all that kind of stuff. But so he has his own little like comments, slogan kitchens and so on. And then there's Candace Owens, obviously her all her beliefs. But within the debate, each debater had 3 fact checkers of their own that at any time could fucking fact check. That shit's sick. So like, let's just say like I'm debating Nathan, right? And then I got 3 people that are fucking able to fact check anything, whatever, at any time. And the moderator's like, oh, we got a fact check coming in. Boom, and we spit it out. And then Nathan can do the same to me. I think that that's just the way to go. That's the best.
How did it work with the debate? Because that would be cool to set up something like that here.
It worked good in my opinion. I think I don't want to give it away. I'm not going to say anything. I think you guys could watch it, but there was definitely somebody that lost more than they won when it came to the fact check.
I know you've been going a while with family. When you just say spit out, you gotta pause that. I'm sorry. You just gotta
What did I say?
get
What
into
did I
the
say?
habit. Just spit it out.
Oh, dude, I haven't paused in a long time.
No, man, I'm just messing with you.
But, yeah, though. Anyways,
Debate up there in for you guys if you want to put the.
yeah, dude, watch it. And I want to know what you guys think.
You're talking about the Candace Owens, Andrew Wilson one?
Yeah, did you watch it, Tim?
Honestly, I'm on it like 45th minute. I'm on like when.
What do you think so far?
So, let me tell you, so when I was watching the clips, it really seems like Candace was stomping him, but it doesn't feel that way during the interview.
Oh, got it. Okay, so when you saw selected clips, it gave one narrative, but then now you're watching it. Okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
Was it on her channel?
No. It was on the with that. It's like that Persian guy's channel.
Yeah, but Mike,
That's David.
what's weird about Mike is I think they're at her house though. She mentions that like you came to my house. I think it is Pat David, but I think she set it up at her house. I think that's where they are.
Oh, that has to have some type of psychological play.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, so the clips that like I said, we show the clips because Andrew Wilson's like a smoker and he like shakes his leg a lot, so they focus on that and like they're. But yeah, I think he's holding his
I'm
own.
pacing right now. Like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm a fidgeter. The way that I talk with my hands and so on. So
Right.
that's like those things. I mean, they can look. If that's like a focus, I don't know. I think there are other things to focus on as well. So I'm not going to take that away because I guess I might point that out in some cases, but only if I'm like trying to cap on somebody, not like prove my.
Well, it's like I do that too in like meetings. I'll sit there and start talking with my hands to the point that one of my coworkers who else was on there gave me a whiteboard and a marker and basically said every time you go on the screen just start drawing this stuff out so that we can understand. And she goes, first you move way too fast. Secondly, you tend to move your hands a great deal when you get very animated and when you get down into the nuances. So just write it out on the board and draw it out.
I wouldn't stop doing that if I were you.
You can tell you was in the Navy, bro. Could have been doing that foolishness.
Well, I'll say this right now. Look, like if it's affecting your performance in the sense of you're not able to relay a position or message, or people getting the wrong idea, and the goal is to get the right idea or convey a message, then yeah, you want to stop. But like the idea is this: fidgeters tend to be more, I guess you could say, less fat than other people. You burn anywhere from like 600 calories more.
And Mike, they go Mike and this fat phobia again.
Oh, bro, hey, I have a new one. I have a new term. There's fucking fast planning now. I got fast planning, bro. I swear to God, there's fast planners.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Fast planners. Nothing's ever their fault. It's never their fault. It's someone else's fault. They're fucking fast planning. So, yeah, no, you don't stop the fidget. I'll never stop fidgeting. My mom, I guarantee she has a little bit of ADHD, but you know what? That's why her age is what her age is. When she fucking can't sit still, guess what? That's probably going to keep her alive longer because movement or lack of movement is why people die when they get older. That's why when they fall and break their hip and shit, right? They remain sedentary, they can't move, they get fucking pneumonia, their lungs fill up with fucking fluid, and they're done. The ability to move, the desire to move, is something that's going to keep you around for a longer period of time. You also need muscle. I'm not saying it's like that's the one all, but like that's why leg strength and all that kind of shit makes a difference. So fucking be a mover.
That's why I'm gonna keep hooping until I'm like 60.
Mike, while I was talking in this room, I drew on the whiteboard and I kept the pad while talking about insurance. Like I drew icons and things that I normally associate with certain programs and whatnot. I just drew it all out, and I'm sitting here looking now at my paper, going all the notes and stuff that I took, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I gotta stop doing this shit.
Yo, Tim, what you say?
Listen, okay, well, Mike, I don't know. The only
Yeah, around 60.
The only real, like, in the beginning, right in the first 5 minutes, you even get with that gotcha, you said you were a sniper, he says I didn't put his wife in it. Other than that, there's no real, like, gotchas. It really feels like both of them.
So look, here's, okay, I hear what you're saying. I think there were moments where she's like, you didn't even know the 7 charges. Like, there's something about that, right? But here's the thing. So she makes a claim. She's saying that the guy is a thing. I forgot the word patsy or some shit like that.
Yeah,
right? Patsy. Okay. What exactly does that mean, by the way?
Ball guy. You're the guy that's set up to take the blame.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So she's calling him that, and the whole time the guy's like, okay, like me, whatever. Now, give your evidence for that, and you get nothing. You know what it clearly is? It's the creationist versus evolution debate. Oh, I'm sorry, not evolution debate. Yeah. So
Darwinism. Yeah.
So it should be fucking abiogenesis, right? So the thing is that they feel, the creationists commonly feel that if they prove evolution wrong, therefore creationism is right. It's like, no. Okay, let's just say you debunked that model. You did it clearly. Now you have to climb. Let's see it. Take me through it. Just because you prove my shit wrong doesn't mean you prove it right. Yours right. Because we could both be
Mike,
wrong.
it's worse than that. They're not even proving it wrong. They're saying that, hey, I can show you how you could be skeptical about your position.
Yes,
you
exactly.
can be skeptical about anything. That's
Exactly.
the thing.
Exactly. No, that's a great point. That's exactly right. So it's like, dude, what about your shit now? And I'll be honest with you. I was waiting. I'm like, okay, this is the time. And it's like,
Yeah, she gave me
I got enough.
The other thing, too, is if you know, I don't know, so I actually got, I got 45 minutes left. I thought I was going to give more, but only his team puts clips in. I don't know if you noticed that. Only his team calls out clips, like, hey, and it's all her, like, did you say this? And she says certain things, like, I forget how she says it, but I can't see how Erica Kirk isn't complicit in something and blah, blah, blah. But his team is the only one putting out videos, which I thought was telling in a sense.
So do you think it's more marketable, those of you seeing it? Because what I'm going to hear in my side or my circles on the conservative side is how great Candace Owens did. And I promise you, there's going to be a certain person that comes into this room and says, listen to, did you see this? This is so great and blah, blah, blah. And she destroyed it. And you'll hear it from like Samoa and stuff. I don't think Candace Owens is really a great representative of conservatism. But do you think it was she got the shots in that make her look good? Because Tim, you said through the clips you saw you looked like she was packing up. Do you think she was being more performative to get those individual 30-second clips?
I don't know. He calls it out a lot. There's a lot of inference made by her.
She had nothing, bro.
Yeah.
She talks about other things. Like explain it like this, like it's more like a lot of meta shit. Like me and you are debating, Brad, and you start questioning. I know, look, Brad. I'm not gonna sit here and allow this to, it to be an interrogation, right? You can't sit here and I'm start talking like that. It's like, and like I don't know, man. It's just I was it's her glass is empty, bro. She had nothing. Like, maybe the sniper thing, that was kind of stupid.
Oh, you know what that she said? Actually, Mike, that I said, okay, a little cause for pause. Because I actually think Andrew Wilson did good. Is when he questioned her sources, and then she was like, well, I showed a picture that no one else saw, and so people think my sources are good. And she named like 3 things that she got from her sources.
You know what? I thought about that too, and I noticed he didn't push back.
Yeah.
But the reason why is because it's pushing back would take a chance. It could be the case that you verify that after the fact. So that's one of those things where if you gamble and lose, it makes you look bad as a gotcha moment. Not that she drove her point home, right? Just to show like, I got you. But it could be the case that those pictures were just common things. Like when they were talking about the 211 something where she was talking about the hearsay rule.
Yeah, like the Utah hearsay rule that she that's weird. I don't really understand what she's saying because it doesn't make
sense. Was saying, look, what she did was she conflated that whole thing basically. She like said, hey, look, the whole hearing or most of it was based off of that. And then she cites the rule and then it's like, no, pay attention. That, I guess you could say, type of hearing allows hearsay, but it's not necessarily the case the whole thing is based off of hearsay. So then it's like when you go through a series of things, it's like DNA is not hearsay, right? So, and then they talk about the text messages and so on. I don't know. To me, it was like...
What about the bag thing? They didn't go too deep into it, but they gave the backpack back because they didn't suspect Erica or the
I think what he said...
And I knew a guy who died in high school. It was a party situation and there was some confusion as to which boat he was going on. He jumped off one boat to go to another, but the other boat left. So he just sort of got left out there and he drowned. And he was a very athletic guy. I mean, it's sad. Like when alcohol's involved, these kinds of things do happen. There's a lot of moving parts. It's super late, early in the morning. Accidents happen. I mean, I'm from Florida. Like people slip and fall, hit their head on a freaking dock, drunk, and they die. I knew another guy that died like that. I mean, it's crazy. And so him being athletic doesn't say much to me because these accidents happen all the time like this. And there were 300 people on that island at one point. I mean, there was a lot of people. So it sounds like it was a pretty fun, wild party. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I don't see enough here to make me think that these boys deserve to be getting death threats for any reason. It seems like they all truly loved him. It seems like he was a very well-loved guy. I don't see any motive here, unless there was some sort of altercation. And like you said, were they drunk, did something? But I just don't see that so far. So we'll see. But those are my...
I think that what strikes me though is the inconsistency, like in terms of why I believe that there was some foul play. There's inconsistencies in the story, and I listened to the interview. One of them. I haven't followed the case, completely like that. I'm like, I have shit to do. But it's very weird to me because I think when you're innocent and you're telling the truth, things are very, very clear. When you're lying, and I'm somebody who's done my fair share of lying, things can be, although I think I'm probably a better liar than these people, it's a lot more difficult to, maintain, especially when you're recalling certain events and certain things. It gets a little bit murky, first of all. Second of all, there wasn't an argument there, because he had mentioned there was some audio about him and him telling somebody to give back his phone. Third, there was, when they came back home, they all had privatized his social media, and then they had his phone, and then they didn't inform the mother that they had his phone and she had to discover that when she did like a Find My iPhone thing. So that to me indicates that you're hiding something, and clearly it's something that you feel like is could be incriminating or damaging. Because otherwise, if this is your friend, and I do believe that they were at some point genuine friends, but that doesn't actually like so what you were saying, Holly. I think literally, I mean, we see this all the time. You know, whether it's friends, whether it's family, husbands, spouses, whatever.
Where's he at? I
Just
don't
because you
know.
love
I'm in
somebody
China. I
doesn't
want to
mean
go
that
home. Let's
you don't get
go.
into an altercation and maybe things went too far, and then you did something that you just can't, take back. You know. That's
Yeah,
what,
that's true, and I'll reserve my, we'll see what happens. But I also want to say real quick, this seems like a small town. I think, I don't know if the sheriff is doing the most bang up job. I don't blame the parents for putting pressure, any way they can. I completely understand their perspective on this. I mean, it sounds like they haven't had hardly any communication with the sheriff, and I mean that's pretty fucked up. I mean, that would really piss me off as a parent.
You about to make me racist.
Okay.
This is this white liberal guilt here. Mess with you.
No.
So,
There's some crappy sheriffs out there.
Look, that is true. So here's this, just to catch you guys up, some of this stuff be redundant, particularly to the Thunder. She's still here? Oh, okay, she's still here. So she heard this many times because I said this. So disagree with a lot of what you said, JJ. Here we go. So firstly, the boys left him not abandoned on the island because he wanted to speak to the girl. Now, based on what Ann just said, Holly just said, which actually stands out a bit, that there's a possibility that after they hooked up, he went to his boat and the boat was gone, and then he can go catch her because her boat was gone and now he's stranded. That's possible. So far, I don't know if that's the case. But it seems that they left him there with her because he wanted to be left alone according to what was being requested. Now, Javon Williams and Traceman Shepard, they both said they also left their phones on the boat based on what happened. By the way, that video of somebody arguing, that was Traceman. He'd been interviewed on TMZ after that video came out. He said that was him. So it wasn't Nolan arguing by the phone. It was him arguing with someone. I don't think it was by the phone. I can't remember what it was about, but it was some trivia. It wasn't nothing too super serious. So he talked about that. He spoke on Officer Tatum's interview as well as the other boys. Javon hadn't spoken to Tatum, but he spoke to TMZ. So long story short, they left their phones. That was kind of a normal thing because people couldn't, dock up on the island. So people typically would get off and walk or take little boats, whatever, to get to the island because there was no docking pier or nothing like that. Anyhow, so they got back to the shore or to their spot. They was getting their phones off the boat. Whose phone is this? That's Nolan's phone. Where's Nolan? So they started looking for Nolan. They couldn't call him. They got his phone, plus he's on the island, presumably, so there's no way to get in touch with him. So they looked for him. They couldn't find him. That's when they alerted the authorities. Supposedly went back to the island looking for him. And of course, they didn't have the parents' information. His Nolan's phone is locked. So the whole idea about them getting the phone and erasing stuff is definitely a problem, which is going to be the last one I'm going to make because I'm going to tell you why it's such a big problem. But they finally let the parents know after the pinging or whatever. The parents got the phone back and the keys because, of course, they was the last people on the boat with his stuff. So, of course, they took their friend's stuff after looking for him. What ended up happening was when the parents came, according to the story of both sides, they gave the information. The parents tried to make it seem like it's something suspicious, but the bottom line is they had his stuff. They just took a little second to look for it and locate it, and they gave it to the parents. There was no problem with that. As of now, because a lot of points to be made, but I'm kind of jump to the end. A lot of stuff that shit.
Yeah, but how you doing?
I had a call. What's up?
Nothing much. I just want to say.
Yeah,
I just
to the police.
So what?
Katie told a different story to the police.
Who told a different story to the police?
Katie, the girl that they claimed that he stayed with. She told the police that he left with his original friends. That he didn't leave with her. That she went on.
No, that's a consistent story. Think about it. He told his boys to leave him with the girl. So he went to the girl, and then when he left the girl, he was going home. That's not a contradiction.
That's what I'm saying. There's two different stories that are two different paths. If he left with the boys, then that means that they shared story was right. That he
no. Think about it.
If he didn't, then she's lying.
No, I think he misunderstood the story. When he left her, he told her he was going to leave with his friends. He never made it back to his friends.
No, I get what you're saying, but I'm saying that Katie, right? I'm saying Katie, being that she was the person that the kids said that he was with Katie. That's what Warren said. He was with Katie. But Katie's saying that they spoke briefly. It wasn't that long. And that she went on her boat and that he said he was going to go with his original friends, which conflicts their story if they're trying to say that they left him.
He thought they were still
No,
there.
that's not the conflict.
He thought they were still. He thought he could catch that boat.
No, that's I get what you guys are
conflict.
saying in theory, but I'm just telling you that there's two different statements.
Those aren't different.
For what happened.
Yeah, I'm saying it's
in the story for the ending closing portion of the
So,
story.
Free, can I ask a question? So, I mean.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my thing up, but go ahead, bro.
Sure.
Yeah, so, I mean, when we look at the greater context of this case, I'm not understanding the outrage. You know, this was a holiday weekend during holiday times, festivities were going on. I mean, when you look at emergency response, policing, law and order, and search and rescue, they have their priorities divided between America just existing. So I don't think that there was some grand conspiracy based on the color of this person, or any sort of outside identity politics that affected the response of people searching for this young man. Secondly, the other thing that I feel like a lot of people need to take into context is while this young man was heavily intoxicated and getting his party on, so were the other witnesses and the people around him. I think that the biggest takeaway is this is why there's a drinking age. And when you're relying on a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds to tell you what was going on in the midst of chaos and related to a criminal investigation while they were trying to get their party on, I don't think that you're going to get very many consistent sides of the story. Now, what I'm more interested in is there any sort of indication that there perhaps could be some sort of foul play? Were there any circumstances that people can consistently agree on beyond just speculation and just people insinuating the way that people live their lives? So what are we doing?
No, because we're waiting for the.
What are we doing? This is another. Right, and this is just another instance, and this is just another instance where Black people and specifically Black America have their priorities misplaced about talking about some stupid ass shit and the details of some dumb ass shit, as opposed to shit that we actually need to be worried about.
I agree, and that's what I was going to say. So as of now, let me finish this point too. I want to address your thing. I think me and Holly are both saying that the story was consistent. That he told. According to the boys, he left them to hang with her. He made it to her and said, "Hey, I'm going back with my boys." He didn't make it back to his boys. That's not a conflicting story. It's consistent, right? So far, it confirms that the boys were telling the truth about him leaving them and making it to her. Because they wouldn't know because they wasn't with him when he was with her. So if he made it to her, that confirms that what they heard was the truth. Or at least what they reported that they heard was the truth. Anyhow, the elephant in the room to me, so I'm going to get to this while I go into all the details. The elephant in the room to me is the issue that the mother so far has not been cooperative with the law enforcement. I hope Jay is still here. Because so far they haven't reviewed phones. She was the first one to come out with this story that stuff was deleted off the phone. No one has reviewed the phone, maybe not even allegedly heard, but at very least heard. So after a month and some change, they haven't even done the investigation on the phone to check that out. That she haven't turned it over, she hasn't been cooperative. That's kind of the big story right now, the latest on this case. That's one thing. Secondly, what points a big red flag to me, everyone that talks to the boys, well, let me not say everyone can talk to the boys, but the person who hasn't spoke to the boys is her. She hasn't got anybody on her side speaking to these boys. The boys who last saw him alive, or one of the last people who saw him alive. So to me, Jay, and anybody else who think the boys are guilty of something, there's some malice on their behalf, I'm curious why no one's scrutinizing the mother and why she's acting weird. So right now she's working on a Netflix deal with the story. Look that up. Nolan Wells, Netflix. They're working on a documentary. She hired Ben Crump right off the rip. Immediately before anything was discovered, she hired him the first day, the same day, which is insane. So just all this stuff looks suspicious on her behalf because it doesn't seem like she's trying to get to the bottom of what happened to her child. It seems like she's trying to capitalize on the shit for her own personal gain.
She's a grieving mother. You know how many people start foundations and start.
And the fathers,
she's a grieving mother.
In my opinion, they're just trying to find out what happened. And so
but why would they talk to the people
right
who was with their child?
Because they're in Mississippi. And because of Mississippi reputation and the fact that they were told that it was no foul play. They kept saying that multiple times and they just want to know what happened to their son. Why?
If they want to know why would they not talk to the people? But think about it. I'm telling you why. You didn't speak to anyone who spoke to your son last. You're not even inquiring about them. That's number one. Secondly, you wouldn't turn it over to the police to let them know. She could back the phone up. She could release certain things from the phone that shows the data being deleted. She can do anything. She hasn't done that. She just made accusations, and right now she's not making it clear for them to find out what actually happened. So if she gave her shit, she would at least let someone help her get to the bottom of it. But so far, you got a civil activist boy who's looking for money.
She's only stated that she's concerned about the fact that the last person who saw her son, and she's concerned about the details surrounding the after that. That's why I stated
Mama,
that
why
last
she
detail who saw
why
him
she
first is the really big issue there. If it was either Katie or if it
but
was
why
the
she not
boys.
complying with the police then? Why she not complying with
Because
it? Why she not
I'm not sure why
you
she
know
didn't
why?
fight for the
Because
police.
because
But
apparently
I'm
I
not
spoke to
saying that
someone.
she doesn't, and she's not trying to fight for what happened to her son. And I don't want to take that from her. It makes sense
Come
that she
on,
hired Ben
man.
Crump because she wants the story to get out there.
Free.
She
I
wants her
also
Yeah, you
son
probably being
being
calm but not
told.
speak to the people who saw your son last. Like he would know. Like he would have any information. He's not even trying to speak to them. He can speak to them for her. He ain't even done it. Like what are y'all doing?
Well,
Y'all
I'm
going
saying,
too far to try to
but
make
Free,
this make sense.
why can't you see that she's a mother and that their father is trying to find out what happened and they had to do all they need to do?
Myla, if they were trying to find out, you would speak to people involved. Why does that make sense to you? Why would you not talk to people who's actually there?
They did. They were trying
can't
to
answer that.
figure
It
out.
doesn't
They
make sense.
said they had asked.
They haven't spoken to them. It's been over a month.
They had asked Javon
Come on, man.
about it, and so does he not count as a person? You said nobody.
Jesus Christ, Myla.
They want to rehash it. Free.
It
They
wasn't
want
just
to
Javon.
free.
I'm just saying
Free.
an example because you said
Free.
you didn't ask anybody.
You're arguing with a wall. They want to rehash this shit that don't make sense, as opposed to your point. Go and talk to the people, the last people that seen him.
But I feel
I
like
mean,
they
to me, that's very simply a point. No, anything that y'all are doing, I feel like questioning all of this shit as opposed to supporting a woman talking to the last people that saw that young man. I feel like y'all are just peddling hot air for the sake of peddling hot air.
I just said the last person because that part matters. I keep saying the Katie in her story saying that he left with his original friends. Because remember, after that window time of who saw him last, he's dead after that. They can only track to a certain amount of time. So in that short amount of time, whoever saw him last, that's the one we need to know. That's who needs to be the person answering what happened to Nolan Wells. And the assumption that Katie's saying that they left with the original friends and they offered one of these interviews, and I'm hoping so much that the interviews that they're doing that they actually didn't kill him. Because then that's the case, Katie's not lying when she tells the police, hey, I just saw him for a second and that he rode with his original friends that he came with and that she went with hers. And they saying that's what I'm saying. So that window of time matters. Who saw him last matters. That's how we understand the story.
Yeah, but Mila, hold on, Mila. What's up, guys? I mean, you continue to say that she said she only saw him for a short time, as if though they were all in the same space together. Okay, you have to look at. You said the last. So right now, based on everything you said, she was actually the last person that saw him, not the other group, because the other group was already gone. That they were not together at the same time.
If she's telling the truth, then they are the last ones that saw her. If she's telling the truth, and then they're lying. If she's telling the truth.
No, exactly. But you gotta look at it. When he left his group to go see her, we don't know, was it a mile away, 2 miles? We don't know. But we do know this, that Katie did not see that group of people. Okay? But we do know that she saw Nolan.
That's not what Katie said. Did you read the statements that her mother released and her family released on her behalf?
Ms. Miller, that's what she said. Why are we having this conflict based on what you believe she said?
No, I'm not believing anything. She said, well, I want to say what they said that she said. Her family stated that first they were reporting that Katie was missing. Because when it first came out, they gave the wrong name. Then they said, oh, the girl that Nolan Wells was with was missing. Then the family came out and said, no, she's not missing. And they explained that she had spoke to the police and stated that Nolan Wells and her did have a conversation, but that there was a separate boat and that she went on a different boat and that he stated that he had to go and that he was going to catch back up with his original friends that he got on the boat with. That he got there. That's what I'm telling you.
No. Hold on.
She said that, not.
I got it, but listen, he said he has to catch back up with them. That means the moment that she had her conversation with Nolan, the group that he was going to catch back up was not present.
No, I don't believe that. I believe that if she's, again.
Why the hell would he tell her?
I gotta say if because I don't know.
Why the hell would he tell her that I need to go catch a boat to go meet up with some people he was already fucking with?
That means that Nolan got on the boat with
them. What are we talking about?
If that story was true, and then something
what are we talking about?
Back from the boat, if that is true.
Edward, am I hearing the same thing?
If she's lying, then that means that something happened with her, and she knew and saw what happened to him before she
They're
got
just
on the boat.
making shit up. Like, I mean,
No, I'm
it's
not.
just
I don't
like
think you
y'all just
understand what I'm
making
saying.
shit
So
up.
No, we get what
At the end of the day,
all I'm
at
saying
the
is
end of the
different
day,
stories, and it's already
regardless.
publicly knowledge. That's not. It's already public knowledge what Katie said and what Warren and them
Let me
stated.
try.
It's
Let
public
me
knowledge.
try.
I'm
No,
not
hold on,
saying-
Harley. Let me just say this.
don't
Let me just say
understand.
this. If he left with his friend, the girl, or the freaking cast of the Muppets, what does the forensic evidence say? What does it say?
No, all I'm saying is it's like
What is it? No, I don't want to hear what you're saying. I'm talking about the science. What is the science telling us?
We don't know a whole lot yet, do we? Because they haven't really. But it does seem. I mean, I read something about maybe he may have hit like his neck area on something. I'm not
Right.
sure.
And
That's
that,
all I-
No,
those
that's also
type of
incorrect. They said he
injuries.
had redness on the back of his neck, and they
Okay.
weren't sure if he was hit.
Those,
not, but it was kinda
those,
strange.
and who knows if he had fell and hit the side of the damn boat being drunk, as he had no business being intoxicated at the age that he was, being very young and inexperienced consuming alcohol. So like I said, you know, let's wait and listen to the science. But what you're saying, young lady, it doesn't indicate that any of these young people had anything to do with this young man's death.
That's
So to
not
sit
my
up in
point
here
at
and
all.
say-
I don't
But to
understand
sit
how
up
that
in
can't
here-
be the point. So I think that's why I'm like having a hard time having a conversation.
It seems like you
because
don't
all I'm
want-
doing is saying there were two different narratives, and I was
It's-
mainly talking to when Jay brought out the conversation of what he believed, right? And I'm saying there was two different narratives that was being pushed to the forefront. We had Katie's story and we have Warren and their story. That's the bottom line. And all I said was after their story that they gave and what they saw when they saw Nolan, where they believe Nolan went, prior to them leaving him, something happened. We don't know. And so every piece of the story matters to kind of understand what could have happened, including the autopsy and the toxicology report. But I'm just stating that that portion of time is missing. That's it. I don't get
All right.
like what the fuck.
Okay.
I just want to try.
Because I've been waiting for it.
Yeah, I just want to try one last time with this.
Good.
I know. Okay. When you're at a party on an island, the boats pull up. They don't always pull up in the same cluster. In this case, I don't know how big this island is. They could have pulled up in different areas. It's very dark. It's 4 a.m. People are drunk. People are tired. He goes over, he tells his friends, look, honestly, he probably wanted to hook up with this girl. Let's be real. So he goes over to this girl to where she was. He tries to talk her up. Maybe it didn't go, maybe she's like, I just want to go home, right? And so he's like, fuck, okay, I'm going to go back to my friends, because he saw that he probably couldn't fit on her boat and it wasn't going to work that way. So he needed to go back to his friends. So he tells her, all right, no worries, I'm going to go catch up with my friends. She never said in her statement, I saw with my eyes that he walked back over to his friends and he got on the boat with them and he was physically with them. By the point he got back to where his friends were, they probably had already fucking left. So all we know is that she actually is the last person to have seen him. She did not say, I saw him get on the boat with those guys. All she said is what he told. She's not lying. These stories are not inconsistent. Do you see now? They're not inconsistent at all.
That's the point of my conversation. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Okay, so what I am saying is we relying on evidence for the interaction with Nolan Wells. We have Katie and we have the boys. So these are people with the interaction with Nolan Wells. What I am mainly saying is that it's very inconclusive right now and that we don't know what happened to Nolan Wells due to the inconsistency in the statements of Warren and also Katie. That was the main basis of that. I'm saying that with the inconsistency, we don't know actually what happened. And having that missed time frame of where he possibly died at that certain time, we don't know. So that's what I'm saying. Every part of the story matters, and inconsistencies is not helping us understand the story. That's the main thing.
Also,
I'm not saying that Katie or anybody killed him. I don't know. That's what I just said like about 5 to 6 times now. Like, I don't know. I don't really know.
Also,
I'm asking for autopsy. I'm asking for toxicology. I'm waiting for the
Toxicology? Well, no shit.
hi, JJ.
You know, it's each
Hey,
their own.
mother. It also seems really strange that or not just strange, it seems suspicious, right? Because we gotta like I'm just not here with this narrative about like these boys should be absolved or protected from any sort of scrutiny. I think that based off of what I saw, they look like they're being deceptive, and I think that that's good enough for people to chime in. Now, I don't believe that anybody should be receiving death threats, but I don't subscribe to anybody receiving death threats. Um, yeah, but I do believe that if you're looking sus and there is a lot of suspicious things with this story, there's inconsistencies. There is the fact that you know they just look like they're lying. And also, why did they privatize their social media? You know what I mean? I feel like that would have been
fucking strikes like you go crazy on their
I
ass.
think that, huh?
Yeah, that makes sense why they privatize their social
They trying to hide themselves in the public figures, bro.
If that
Doesn't matter.
that was
They
me,
should. When they're
I understand
privatizing
if that
their
was me
social
on
media,
any
that's
side.
indicative of
No, but
somebody
I'm saying
trying
on
to
any
be
side.
deceptive.
I would have, if I was the family of Nolan Wells,
JJ,
if I was
you
one of them,
reasonable, bro.
I'm more than likely.
It's
more than likely
indicative of
gonna-
somebody not wanting to be harassed by weird people on the internet.
Yeah.
They're gonna be harassed regardless.
Well, they're gonna do what they can do to protect themselves. So I'm not
They're
gonna
still,
follow nobody.
but actually, if
sign
that
up
was
to
the
be public
intention,
And I'm talking about.
if that was
I'm
the
talking about
intention,
indicate, because they're
that
not the
was the-
only ones being harassed on the internet.
exactly, and
That
if
man's
that was the
family being
intention,
harassed too. So
if that was
Right.
the intention, then they probably shouldn't have started hiding shit. They look suspicious. So
What
of
were
course
they
they're gonna
hiding,
be
JJ?
receiving
They
You
weren't
want to hide
hiding
anything, you put this shit on private to avoid
This
being
why-
harassed.
yeah.
It hides
No,
the shit that's on your
you're
profile.
still
I'm
gonna
going
be
back to the
harassed.
same. I'm going back
And
to
they
the
knew
same
that he was the
viewpoint
only black person.
that I had on Carmelo. Dog.
Ain't nobody
I'm
looked
going
at
back
him.
to the same viewpoint, which is I'm going to actually let the law do its job, and hopefully
Thank
it
you.
does its job. Because this is what I'm not gonna do, because I see it on both sides of the argument. We'll take this to make our own points about how we feel about how the justice system works, whether we believe it's fair or unfair. And it's not, I don't think it's unfair for anybody to question whether this shit is foul play. This America. Like, it's a black man on a boat with a bunch of white folks. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. I know it's people that like to play obtuse in these spaces. But yeah, it's gonna be people that feel like, hey man, that's kind of suspect. You feel me? Give it some time though. Cause if it do come out that it wasn't no foul play, then we done spend a lot of unnecessary energy on trying to ridicule people. And if it come out that it was foul play, I would hope that niggas ain't taking some kind of like secondary, like false vindication. Just let the law play, because this shit ain't finna change how the motherfucking system work. If you think that the system unfair, whether it come out to be foul play or not, this motherfucker still gonna be unfair. And that's just how I feel. But we got to, man, I say this, man, with all respect to that young man and respect to his family. We got bigger things to deal with as Americans. Let that family deal with that. Let that city and county, that area deal with that. And let them, because they the people that got to deal with that pain. On both sides of the coin, they got to deal with all of that. So it's easy for us to talk about, but there's plenty of other shit we could be discussing as Americans.
Also, it's very important to understand.
JJ, real quick.
Okay.
So what you're saying? Yeah. So what you're saying, and here's the thing about it. There was black people on that boat too, right? So that's that. So it wasn't just like one crowd or one guy out buying a whole bunch of white people, which isn't a problem, because clearly the goal is to actually find foul play. A lot of us work around white people, live around white people. In many spaces where we're the extreme minority and nothing happens. So this whole like boogeyman conjure about white people being evil and therefore you gotta watch yourselves is just fucking nonsense. I think you should watch yourselves around anybody and protect yourself, because your life is your ultimate responsibility. So that's that. The issue is that we need something to suggest foul play. If they say they found the boy, his eyes was missing, a certain parts was missing, yeah, don't look good, don't sound good. He got scratches and bruises all over him. Anything, any type of indication of malice, some type of hostility, but we don't have that. And after a month and some change of this case, we still don't have it. And we're constantly waiting, not all of us, but a lot of us are waiting for that confirmation to just, try to move that direction. So I'll say this in short. People like me are going for the evidence where it leads us to. Other people have drawn the conclusion and are looking for evidence to support their conclusion. That's the difference. And no offense to you, JJ, but I think that's where you at. I don't mind saying the boys killed him and there's some malicious towards him. I just need evidence for that. But it seems like, and this is what I'm gonna ask you in short, I know you want to speak, I'm gonna land on this, so trust me, you gotta have this. Are you open to the idea that it could be a potentially accidental death? Like if it comes out that they found no foul play and the autopsy showed that there was no homicidal actions that happened towards this boy, would you accept the fact that this is likely an accidental death?
Okay, so first of all, yes, obviously we got to go where the evidence leads, but we got to understand first and foremost, Mississippi is a red state, and in this political climate where this administration has been extremely inflammatory and just racist, and a lot of people have followed suit, and there's a deep history in Mississippi. I was actually speaking to somebody on here who's from Mississippi, who is saying that this has been an issue before this case of foul play in regards to the police system as well as the coroner. So there, when you have like a context for nefarious actions and a lot of suspicious activity and bad faith behavior from institutions within a state that has a history of racism and slavery and all those kind of things, Jim Crow, all of the things. It is reasonable for people to be suspicious. I'm not condemning anybody, but I think that also I'm not over the way that they're being. These kids are being first of all, they're not kids, they're grown, they're 18. The way that they're being framed is problematic to me, and I don't feel that if the roles were reversed and it was a bunch of black people partying and one white friend, that they would be given the same sort of grace. They're not above criticism. I think it's weird as fuck that they all blocked out their social media and they have inconsistent stories, and those things deserve to be given the same scrutiny.
This is fucking
that
weird.
all other weird cases got.
This is fucking
I don't
weird.
understand, like, why we